The camera comes on with a shot of the live crowd in the Ford Arena, part of the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa, Idaho. As pyro goes off around the stage area, Violet Orlandi's cover of Black Sabbath's War Pigs starts to play through the arena. Generals gathered in their masses. Just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction. Sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning. As the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind. Poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that role to the poor, yeah. Time will tell on their power minds. Making war just for fun. Treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes, yeah. Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing, spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah. The Warzone logo comes up onto the screen as a series of pyro goes off. The now normal drone flyby on the arena goes across as the graphic shows that audience at home that 10,839 fans, of a capacity of 12,300, had joined the CWF tonight in the Ford Arena. The camera then cuts to our announcers, Ben Price and Fast Eddie Vega. Ben Price: good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ford Arena, part of the Ford Idaho Center, here in Nampa, Idaho. Eddie Vega: the shittiest place the CWF has ever gone to. Those ladies on Vanguard got to go to Montana. I would pay lots of money to switch shows right now. Ben Price: we're in the bigger arena. Eddie Vega: but it's Idaho. That was Montana. Idaho is flat. They had mountains. Idaho is. Ben Price: well, other than my broadcast partners to staged for our current location. Tonight we have one hell of a show lined up for you. We don't have any titles on the line, but too many things are going to be set up tonight. Eddie Vega: we have elite title contendership to be determined between Cara Reinhart and Trelisa Perot. That should be a good matchup. Ben Price: and speaking of the elite title, the elite champion, Mad Morales, is in a non-title matchup tonight against Bet Lucador. And we'll also be seeing what is going to happen after Johnny Sniper was hired by Tommy Onions to try to get back at Mad Morales on his behalf. Eddie Vega: gotta say, Tommy is desperate if he's going to other wrestlers to hire them to take out someone. Ben Price: we'll see Eddie Williams, who has set his sights on the Conquest champion, taking on Cronin's stablemate, Greg Salazar, in a Normal Rules rematch of their classic deathmatch from before Shadow Warfare. Eddie Vega: and in that same picture, we'll see Abby Dresden taking on the Conquest champion, Cronin Reinhardt, in a non-title match. Ben Price: Abby Dresden won the prize last Warzone, successfully defending the Valor Championship 5 times. And she claimed her shot at the Conquest title, which will take place at Desperate Warfare in Las Vegas. But Eddie Williams also wants Cronin for the beating he delivered to his fellow bastard, Frank Windsor, just a couple of months ago. Eddie Vega: and that has led to a new Valor champion crowned on Vanguard, as Monster Mammoth has claimed his first CWF championship. Ben Price: that he did, and we also have some questions on Lana's antics near the end of that matchup. Are all the Brits in the Fed going the way of the bastards? Eddie Vega: what's that supposed to mean? But, speaking of the bastards, the 4 Wins champion has a challenger, who wanted to face him in a non-title matchup first. So D, who won the Conquest Chaos match on episode 6 of Vanguard, will be taking on the 4WW champion in our main event tonight. Ben Price: but up first, we'll have a non-title matchup, with the new 4 Wins Maelstrom champion, Steve Murdoch, fighting the Beast, Tarask. Eddie Vega: I'm looking forward to Tarask tearing up Murdoch and then Eddie Williams getting his bike back. Ben Price: well, I'm told we have to head backstage really quick, then we'll get to our opening match of the night. Steve Murdoch is standing in the staging area while waiting to be called down to the ring for his match. He looks psyched for the match to come, despite not knowing yet what kind of fresh violent hell he'll be walking into. He frowns as the shadows whisper to him. Voice, Steve Murdoch. Steve Murdoch, who calls me? Voice, Steve Murdoch. The hardcore icon of CWF and even 4WW. Steve shakes his head with a grin. Steve Murdoch, yeah, that's me, but either you show yourself or the EMTs tell me who you were. Voice, Kekanot. Jasmine Minton steps out of the shadows with a wide grin. She walks up to Steve and caresses his left shoulder and arm. Jasmine Minton, my, could it be that your muscles have grown since I've seen you on television last? Steve Murdoch grunts, the flattery working its magic a little. Steve Murdoch, I don't need to preemptively call HR, do I? I have a match to get to, against your former client. Jasmine Minton, see, about that. Tarask has proven to be unreliable and Marcus is an interloper. I don't wish to pursue using them anymore. I would like to back you against them, seeing as how you faced them in your very next match. Steve Murdoch, I don't need any help facing my opponents. Jasmine Minton, of course, you don't. Of course, you don't. I'm not here to help you defeat Tarask. Though, if you would like advice during the match, I would be glad to help. No, I am here to make certain that Marcus doesn't get involved in the match. Steve Murdoch, I think I can handle Marcus. What else are you after? What do you really want? Jasmine Minton, I'm aiming to take down Armand von Kraus. I hear he's looking for followers. I bet they would be a great challenge to go through before getting to Armand himself. Though, I might be asking too much. You might not be able to shoulder this challenge. Steve growls, his hands clenching and unclenching. Steve Murdoch, there isn't a man or woman that I am afraid of. I would be glad to help you take on Armand. Jasmine Minton, good. Now, let's get ready to head down to the ring. I think they announced you. And indeed, a ring worker pokes his head in through the curtains. Ring worker, Steve. They just called you. Jasmine Minton, shall we? Steve Murdoch, let's. Ben Price, Jasmine Minton is back, and she just swooped in and snagged Steve Murdoch. Eddie Vega, and what is this with her against Armand von Kraus? She trying to form a stable against him? Ben Price, well, von Kraus fired the Carnival and is on the outs with Gabriel Tuck. Eddie Vega, not to mention, Tuck has his own issues. Ben Price, well, let's see how this goes. Tarask and Steve Murdoch, and the gimmick to be revealed as this is also under Maelstrom Division rules. Eric Wilson, the following contest is a casket match. A casket is at ringside and the winner will have placed his opponent into the casket and shut the door. Featuring first the challenger, hailing from parts unknown, he is the Tarask. Ladies and Gentlemen by Saliva begins playing as Marcus Anderson walks out from the back with Tarask at his side. The crowd cheers as Tarask poses and roars. They head down to the ring all the while Marcus and Tarask give a few high fives. A brave fan gives Tarask a hot dog that he polishes off in a couple of large bites before he gets to ringside. He steps over the ropes and poses in the center of the ring to the cheering fans while Marcus Anderson stands at ringside. Ben Price, Steve Murdoch has said that if Tarask wins this match, he will have a title shot. Eddie Vega, Tarask is an over-muscled goon who gets outwitted at every turn. He won't win tonight either. Eric Wilson, and his opponent, hailing from Dallas, Texas, he is the current 4WW Maelstrom champion, Steve Murdoch. Darkness covers the arena as the first few guitar riffs of Down to Earth but the new Lithium plays. A red spotlight shines down center stage on Jasmine Minton. The crowd goes quickly from the anticipation of cheering to rowdy boos. Steve Murdoch steps out next to her, raising his kendo stick into the air, but is greeted by boos to fans who know what's up. Steve Murdoch walks down to the ring with the 4WW Maelstrom Championship belt around his waist and Jasmine Minton by his side. Ben Price, we saw Jasmine talking to Steve earlier. I guess they cemented an alliance. Eddie Vega, sure looks like it. I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. Jasmine stops at the ringside while Steve Murdoch enters the ring. Marcus Anderson jumps up to the ring apron, drawing Steve's attention. Marcus Anderson, why are you doing this? She's only using you. I mean, she wants to bring about an end to the world. Steve looks outside of the ring to Jasmine, who just shrugs with a smile. She utters a word not caught by the microphones and Steve's kendo stick lights on fire. Steve then uses the stick to smash it across Marcus' head to send him crashing to the floor. He turns and catches a charging Tarask in the midsection to halt him in his tracks and double him over. He then brings the burning kendo stick down across Tarask's back to send him face first to the mat. Ben Price, how did the kendo stick catch fire? Did Jasmine? Eddie Vega, must be a trick kendo stick that lights up when you press a button on the hilt. Ben Price, yeah, that must be it. Eddie Vega, to consider otherwise is to court madness. Steve Murdoch smashes Tarask across the back a few more times as the beast tries to get back up to his feet. The last bash takes him across the face, drawing blood that sprays across the mat mixed with spit. Steve watches as Tarask slowly makes his way to his feet, reaching the end of the burning kendo stick where a dull cap is at the end. He quickly yanks the cap off to reveal a sharp end. He gets set into a fighting stance where he could do a powerful thrust. Tarask stands up, covered in burns. Ben Price, Steve intends to run Tarask through. Someone has to stop this. Eddie Vega, it is a no-holds-barred match. Ben Price, yes, but murder? Eddie Vega, that does seem a bit far. Steve Murdoch lunges at Tarask, thrusting with the burning kendo stick. Tarask catches it before the sharp end plunges into his chest. He grits his teeth as he holds onto the burning stick, the sharp end drawing blood from his chest. Steve Murdoch presses with all of his might, trying to impale the beast. Marcus Anderson jumps up onto the ring apron, but is pulled down by Jasmine Minton, who slams Marcus face first into the ring apron. Tarask sees this from the corner of his eye and roars as he rips the kendo stick apart with his burnt hands. He lifts Steve up into a press slam position and takes a few steps in the ring to throw Steve out of the ring and into Jasmine to knock her down. The crowd cheers the action as Steve and Jasmine are slow to their feet. Tarask runs across the ring, bounces off of the ropes on the opposite side, and dives over the ropes to take both Jasmine and Steve down. Ben Price, holy crap. Eddie Vega, surely, you can do better. We do get a TVMA rating. Ben Price, holy shit? Eddie Vega, much better. Better still would be. Ahem. Jesus H fucking Christ. Ben Price, bit much. Eddie Vega, maybe a bit. Tarask gets up and grabs Jasmine, hurling her into the ring steps to demolish them. This gives Steve the chance to kick Tarask in the gut and perform a facebuster to the concrete floor. Steve gets back to his feet and kicks Tarask a few times before pulling him up and whipping him at the casket that's on a stand. Steve walks over and hits a few clubbing blows before opening the casket and starting to place Tarask in. Tarask fires back with a back elbow, grabbing Steve, placing his head just inside the casket and slamming the door onto his head. Tarask rolls Steve Murdoch back into the ring, following. He pulls Steve up into a side headlock, cranking on the pressure. He only holds the move for a few seconds before dropping Murdoch into a headlock driver. Tarask stands up and looks around to find Marcus, who slides in a steel folding chair. Tarask walks over and picks the chair up with a wide grin. He walks with the chair over to Murdoch. Tarask, you want play hard? We play hard. Steve Murdoch starts to get up when Tarask brings the chair down across his head with a crash. Steve starts to get back up when Tarask hits him with the chair again. And again. And again. Tarask tosses the now bloody chair to the side and looks down at the bleeding, twitching Steve Murdoch. Tarask, you choose hardcore life. Me raised hardcore life from child. See? Tarask reaches down and grabs Steve by the sack. He squeezes and begins to lift Steve by the nuts. Steve screams out in high-pitched pain and begins tapping. Ben Price, Steve can tap all he wants, but there's no referee in the ring to cause him to lose the match that way. Eddie Vega, I'm glad I'm not Steve Murdoch right now. Tarask laughs as he releases the hold and lifts Steve up into an Argentinian backbreaker. He only holds this for a few seconds before he dumps Murdoch over the ropes, where he hits his head on the ring apron on the way down to the floor. Steve Murdoch lays on the floor as if dead. Jasmine Minton runs to his side to check on him. She holds yellow blowing hands to his shoulder and Steve hops back to his feet as Tarask makes his way out of the ring. Marcus Anderson runs over and taps Jasmine on the shoulder from behind. When she turns around, he hits the flatliner on her. He doesn't get to celebrate this for long as Steve kicks him in the gut and hits the Murdoch special, Butterfly DDT, on him. Tarask grabs Steve from behind and hits a German suplex that lands Steve's spine on the ring railing. Ben Price, Jasmine out, Marcus out. It's just between Steve Murdoch and Tarask now. Eddie Vega, Murdoch seems to be rejuvenated. I wonder what Jasmine did to him. Tarask pulls Steve up and drags him over to a set-up table. He's looking for a powerbomb, but Steve hits a belly-to-belly overhead release suplex that sends Tarask through the table. Steve Murdoch walks over to the ring and pulls up the skirt as he digs around underneath, eventually coming up with a lumpy steel baseball bat. Ben Price, what are the bulges on the bat? Eddie Vega, oh shit. Those are explosives. This is an explosive baseball bat. Ben Price, oh fuck. Eddie Vega, you got that right. Tarask starts to rise when Steve slams the explosive steel baseball bat across his back with a resounding boom that silences the crowd for a moment before they start to boo. Tarask is sent back into the table, burn marks appearing across his back. Steve Murdoch, you think you're so bad as being raised in violence? Tarask tries to get up, doing a push-up to try to get to his hands and knees, but Steve hits him again with the bat. Boom! Steve Murdoch, if you're so special, how come there isn't thousands of you in the service of the Warhammer Corporation's highest bidders? Tarask starts getting up again and the small of his back is targeted for another hit. Boom! Steve Murdoch, the fact remains you were a failure as a super soldier. You were left in Warhammer's special little arena to die until Anderson took you in like a lost puppy. What do you have to say for yourself? Tarask gets up to his knees and Steve goes to hit him in the side of the head with the baseball bat, but Tarask catches the bat. There is an explosion, but Tarask holds tight to the bat. He squeezes the bat and it crumples like an empty soda can. Tarask, me am strong. Steve's eyes go wide as Tarask slowly stands up. Steve tries to pull the bat away from Tarask's grasp so that he can use it again, but Tarask rips it out of his hands and hurls it over his shoulder. The crowd screams as the bat connects with someone and several explosions go off as it bounces around. Ben Price, and that's a lawsuit. Eddie Vega, I would think getting a scar from a wrestling event would be a badge of honor. Ben Price, not for the crowd. Eddie Vega, well, yeah. I guess. Tarask seizes Steve Murdoch by the throat and lifts him into the air and lets him hang there for a moment before choke-slamming him to the concrete floor. Tarask pulls Murdoch up and walks with him to the casket and slams Murdoch face first into the top of the casket before opening it up and tossing him in like a rag doll. Murdoch springs back up into a seated position, trying to fight his way back out of the casket, but Tarask grabs him by the shoulders and headbutts him. He repeats this several times, blood stringing between their faces before Tarask lays Murdoch back down twinside the casket. He closes the door and the bell is rung to end the match. Eric Wilson, winner of the match, Tarask. Marcus Anderson is back up and helps Tarask celebrate his win on their way to the back. Jasmine Minton gets up and walks over to open the casket and check on Steve Murdoch. Ben Price, it was a hard-fought match and now, Tarask gets to have a title shot against Steve Murdoch for the 4WW Maelstrom Championship. Eddie Vega, this is true. I think Murdoch is going to get to choose the stipulations for this next match between the two. Ben Price, we need a few moments to get ready for the next matchup. Let's go ahead and let one of our advertisers sell you something. Steve Murdoch's Emporium of Hardcore. Start busting heads today. The show comes back from commercials, with the camera on the announcers. Ben Price, and coming up next, fans, we've got an interesting matchup, a newer talent in Bit Luchador taking on Mad Morales. Eddie Vega, it's cute that you think the new kid has a chance here. Mad Morales has been on a tear recently. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is a non-title match and it is set for one fall. Introducing first. Hailing from San Jose, California. He stands 5 feet, 2 inches tall and weighs in at 160 pounds. He is Bit Luchador. When Boyka 619 hits H, he walks out on stage and kneels down on one knee in praise. He gets up and points to the fans and pyro fireworks burst open and switch to the other side of the stage and does the same thing, and after he was done he slowly walks down the ramp and slaps some little kid's high fives, and he stops and stares at the kid and hands him his Luchador mask to him and heads straight towards the ring and hops on the turnbuckle and poses both fingers in mid-air and walks to the other side turnbuckle and does the same thing mid-finger in the air, and he gets down and wait for his opponent arrive. Ben Price, I can't quite place it, but this guy seems familiar somehow. Eddie Vega, you get that too? It's like deja vu all over again. Eric Wilson, and introducing his opponent. He hails from Norfolk, Virginia. He is the CWF Elite Champion. Standing 5 feet, 10 inches tall and weighing in at 190 pounds. He is the Air Devil, Mad Morales. As the music hits, the arena darkens as the lights switch to a strobing red. As all the lights start to merge into one as it slowly goes up the ramp, it shows Morales, hands crossed under his navel and his head down. As the song hits the 28-second mark, the lights strobe on beat, as Morales hits a new pose each time until jumping and landing at the final strobe at 37 seconds. He then vibes out to the song, moving with a bounce on beat, rocking out with fans who join into his grunge aesthetic, jeering and taunting fans who boo or show dissatisfaction to his antics. He pauses at the ring and leaps and slides horizontal under the ring before kipping up with his index fingers pointed like horns on his head, holding the stance for a few seconds before climbing the opposite turnbuckle and pointing one finger like a horn on his head and one into the sky. Ben Price, and the reigning Elite Champion, comes to the ring, and as stated, he has been on a tear recently. Eddie Vega, definitely. Mad Morales is only the second Elite Champion in CWF history, and he seems poised to ensure the belt maintains the prestige it has been given and likely will add to it. The two combatants step up to the center of the ring. Bit moves in for the traditional elbow and collar tie-up, but Morales wants to get things started quick and dictate the pace of the match. He slips out of the tie-up and nails Bit with a knee to the stomach, followed by the grunge shot combo, trying to soften Bit up for a quick submission victory. Bit hits the mat after the flying knee finishes the lethal combo. With Bit on the mat, Morales runs to the ropes and attempts to further inflict damage to Bit with a springboard moonsault, but it's too early and Bit counters the move by lifting his knees up. Ben Price, Mad Morales hits the grunge shot combo, but overall a cautious beginning to the match as the two fighters feel each other out. Eddie Vega, Bit isn't fighting like a Luchador at all. Valora is going to be disappointed. Ben Price, I assume you refer to the rumors that Valora is herself a Luchador. Well, Luchadora, to be gender correct. Eddie Vega, exactly. I'm told this is supposed to be reckless, high tempo, fast paced. Come on, man, work for it. Ben Price, I don't think you really know as much about Lucha Libre as you might think you do. Eddie Vega, I know I'm bored. I came to see a fight. Ben Price, you came because you're paid to come. Eddie Vega, and I have. But now I want entertainment too. Mad hits hard, his body still not 100% from the attack last week. He stumbles, trying to recover, but Bit is fast. Bit kips up, runs to the ropes and nails Mad with a spinning knee kick, knocking Mad onto his back. Mad fights through the racking pain, and quickly hops back up to his feet, but not fast enough as Bit hits the ropes and nails him with a tilt-a-whirl head scissors takedown. Bit quickly jumps up and runs to the ropes again, going for another tilt-a-whirl head scissors much to the fans' delight, but Mad instantly catches Bit in mid-move, blocking the takedown and hitting Bit with a reverse powerbomb, dropping Bit face first onto the mat hard. Ben Price, while you seem to be getting your wish, as the pace is definitely picking up here. Eddie Vega, hell yeah. This is what I'm talking about, now kick his ass, Daredevil. Mad stumbles to the ropes, trying to quickly shake off the early assault by Bit. As Bit slowly gets up, Mad runs towards him and nails Bit with another knee to the face, causing Bit to crash back to the mat. With Bit stunned, Mad sizes Bit up, then grabs Bit's leg and goes on for an STF, step over toe hold facelock, for a quick submission into the match, but Bit is too quick and blocks the hold by rolling over and kicking Mad off of him. As Mad goes in for another leg submission, Bit kicks at Mad's knees trying to create space to get away. Mad steps back, allowing Bit to kip up and go on the offensive with a flurry of kicks and punches to the body. Ben Price, Mad Morales seems intent on ending this match quickly, understandable given the brutal matches he's had the past few weeks, and Bit Lucador is picking up the pace here and starting to fight back. Eddie Vega, while I would hope he proves he deserves to be here. Bit knows Mad is still feeling the effects of last week's attack and decides to work over the body. As Mad stumbles back from the attack, Bit hits the ropes and executes a beautiful Hurricane Rana on Mad. Before Mad can recover, Bit uses a rare submission by quickly spinning around and wrapping his legs around Mad's head, trapping Mad in a figure 4 sleeper submission. The crowd goes wild. Mad fights, but Bit adds pressure trying to get Mad to tap, but Mad refuses, and after what seems like an eternity to him, Mad is able to roll over and squeeze out of the figure 4 sleeper. Ben Price, a figure 4 sleeper hold. Talk about a blast from the past there, fans. Mad Morales manages to escape the hold, but he came into this match at less than 100%, and now Bit Lucador is beginning to target the man's ability to breathe. Eddie Vega, I still think Daredevil will get this, but I gotta give the Bitty Lucador credit. He has a sound tactic. Ben Price, it's Bit Lucador. Eddie Vega, dude. Abigail is 17 years old, 5 feet 9 inches. Tetsu Oni 4. 5 feet 5 inches, both of them are taller than Itty Bitty in the ring there. Bit quickly hops to his feet, runs to the ropes and nails a hard-hitting spear. Mad's body recoils in pain from the move. Bit, not being familiar with the submission style, reverts back to his base aerial attack. He runs to the ropes and springboards off them, going for a springboard moonsault to further punish Mad's injuries, but Mad moves at the last second, causing Bit to crash face and stomach first onto the mat. Mad quickly capitalizes on Bit's mistake and starts stomping away at Bit, kicking Bit in the head in midsection, trying to soften Bit up and slow him down. Ben Price, and that, folks, is why my broadcast partner described Lucha Libre as a reckless style. It is definitely an all-or-nothing game. Eddie Vega and Itty Bitty got nothing on that springboard moonsault. Ha ha. Once satisfied that Bite is stunned, he picks Bit up by the mask, scooping him up before throwing him back down in a body slam, followed by a series of elbow drops to Bit's chest and midsection. Sensing Bit is weakening, Mad grabs Bit by the mask and pulls him up again. He scoops Bit up for another body slam, but Bit wriggles out of it, slipping in behind Mad. Bit quickly wraps his arm around Mad's head and nails a devastating reverse DDT. Ben Price, Mad Morales had some offense going there, but he went to the well one too many times, and Bit Lucador made him pay for it with a nicely executed with a reverse DDT. Eddie Vega, come on Daredevil. You can't lose to a dwarf Lucador. Ben Price, he's too tall to be a dwarf. Eddie Vega, but he's still shorter than your average high school student. Sensing victory is near, Bit quickly ascends to the top rope and motions to the crowd, who gives him a big pop before he jumps off for a flying Hurricane Rana, but Mad has the wherewithal to catch Bit and drops him back first with a devastating powerbomb. Taking advantage of Bit's position, Mad grabs one of Bit's legs, pulling him into the center of the ring, and with Bit nearly unconscious from the powerbomb, Mad easily applies an STF on Bit. Bit barely knows where he is after the massive powerbomb, but fights like hell to get out of the devastating hold. Mad squeezes even tighter, applying further pressure to the hold. Bit fights for a minute or two, but is soon overcome with shearing pain and taps. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, by submission, Mad Morales. Then Price, once more, a high-risk style of lucha libre comes back to bite Bit Luchador as Mad Morales caught him and powerbombed him. Eddie Vega, an STF submission for the win. That is why Mad Morales is the elite champ. You make one mistake against him and he can turn it into defeat. One of the camera drones follows Mad Morales backstage, heading toward the locker room when he instinctively ducks under a baseball bat attack. He looks to see that Johnny Sniper is the one holding the bat. Mad Morales, who the fuck are you? Johnny Sniper, Tommy Onions says to tell your mom hey. Mad Morales, oh shit. Mad dodges another swing of the bat and takes off running down the hallway, shoving some people out of the way. Johnny takes off in hot pursuit. They go through several hallways, eventually getting to a meeting room where Mad opens the door, runs in, and closes the door behind him. Johnny Sniper pounds on the door angrily. Johnny Sniper, open the door and take your ass whoopin'. Johnny slams the door a few times with the baseball bat until it swings open. He steps into the room with a head full of steam, his eyes only on Mad Morales, who is sitting on the conference table. The door closes behind Johnny and the baseball bat is plucked from his hands. He turns around and looks up to see Monster Mammoth standing there. Johnny Sniper, oh shit. Mad Morales, you got that right. The scene fades to black as Johnny Sniper is blasted with the baseball bat. Then Price, while Johnny Sniper trying to take out Mad Morales at the behest of Tommy Onions. Eddie Vega, I know fixers in Vegas who would have done a better job. Ben Price, how do you know them? Have you ever hired one? Eddie Vega, no, usually get a visit from them at about 2 in the morning. They're really good at what they do, though. Ben Price, alright fans, and now, we're coming into an Elite Division match. Cara Reinhardt taking on Trelisa Perot to determine who moves up to make a case for getting a title shot at Mad Morales and his Elite title. Morales should be paying attention to this, but he's a bit busy right now. Eddie Vega, I'm told that the rules for this match will be standard hardcore rules with falls count anywhere, which means we have no idea where this match will end up. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the match is set for 1 fall and is an Elite Division match that will be fought under falls count anywhere rules. The winner of this match will become the number 1 contender for the Elite title. Introducing first, she hails from Dresden, Germany. She stands 6 feet tall and weighs in at an even 200 pounds. She is a member of Bad Company. Cara Reinhardt. The lights dim and Itch Will by Rammstein plays over the PA as Cara makes her way out from the backstage area, pausing at the top of the entryway as she looks down at the ring. She makes her way to the ring with a slow, methodical pace and climbs into the ring, climbing between the ropes and making her way to her corner where she holds up a hand and then begins warming up, throwing a few warm-up punches in her corner. Ben Price, well, here comes Cara Reinhardt, and normally, I would say she is at a disadvantage in this style of match, but she acquitted herself well enough during the Elite X matchup at the pay-per-view where the title was up for grabs. Eddie Vega, I still don't know what to make of this woman. I'm scared, intimidated and kinda turned on. Ben Price, let's not get into a discussion on your fetishes. Eddie Vega, don't kink shame. Ben Price, do you have something to say about her in regards to this match? Eddie Vega, whips are technically legal in this match, right? 'Cause watching Cara dominate another woman. Ben Price, ugh. Why do I even bother? Eric Wilson, and introducing her opponent. She hails from Paris, France. She stands 6 feet tall and weighs in at 160 pounds, Trelisa Perot. As her music hits the arena, it darkens, and neon colors light the stage and ramp. Trelisa moves onto the stage under a spotlight. Trelisa wears a different elaborate designer jacket each time she takes the stage, as well as a pair of sunglasses. Turn it up. As the first words hit, Trelisa takes hold of her sunglasses and casts them off her face. She walks down the ramp, and a spotlight follows her, lighting her way. She moves with all the grace of a model on a walkway. As she walks, she lifts her arms out, and then points them in the direction she's walking. She's like a queen taking to the stage, and the audience is her domain until she reaches the bottom of the ramp. I can make your hands clap. At that, Trelisa her hand and claps along with the song. The audience joins in, and Trelisa begins a slow walk around to the south side of the ring. Climbing onto the apron, she'll sway her hips in a dancer's manner, and she'll take a moment to blow a kiss to a fan in the front row, bringing her index and middle finger to her lips as she does so. Finally, she slips into the ring, spinning with a dancer's flair, before turning and moving back toward the opposite corner. Once more the song announces it can make the audience's hands clap, and they clap along. Every night when the stars come out. Climbing to the second rope, Trelisa gracefully dips, leaning forward and reaching a hand up as if she were stretching her arms to the heavens, with the only light in the arena coming from the spotlight on her and the phones from the audience, their lit phones making it seem like she is surrounded by stars. At last, she climbs down and gets ready for the match. If she's the second to enter the ring, she'll blow a second kiss, this one aimed at her opponent, Ben Price, and now, we have her opponent, Trelisa Perot, a newcomer who has shown a lot of potential. Eddie Vega, are you going to criticize me if I say I find the French accent from a woman to be very attractive? Ben Price, well, I'd say you're a creepy sexist, so, yes. I guess I would criticize you. Eddie Vega, fair enough. To focus on the match, I agree the girl has potential, but I don't know if she is being done any favors. Cara proves she has a ruthless streak in her at the pay-per-view, and I've heard mumblings that she's been in a bad mood coming into the show. I would not want to be standing in a ring versus Cara on a good day. When she's pissed off. Ben Price, a valid argument, but Trelisa is a second-generation wrestler, whereas Cara is a rookie entering at an age where most fighters are thinking about retirement. I expect this will be a good match no matter who wins. Eric Wilson leaves the ring and the Ashley Beaton goes over the rules with the fighters and then calls for the bell. Ding! Ding! Cara and Trelisa come out to the middle of the rings and Cara extends a fist and holds it there. Trelisa appears confused for a moment but touches Cara's fist with her own. After a couple seconds hesitation, Trelisa makes the first move and throws a punch that Cara bats away, before pivoting and spinning around, throwing a spinning back fist that Trelisa ducks under and hits Cara in the ribs and body with two punches that Cara absorbs without much damage and sends Trelisa to the mat with European uppercut that knocks Trelisa flat on her back. Cara follows this up by jumping in the air and driving an elbow into Trelisa. Cara immediately goes for a cover but Trelisa kicks out immediately. Ben Price, Cara using her history of competing in mixed martial arts there, touching fists in much the same way boxers touch gloves before a fight, nice sportsmanship there. Eddie Vega, unfortunately, Trelisa got a lesson in weight difference. That 40 pounds of weight difference is a huge advantage for Cara if they're going to go toe-to-toe and blow for blow. Trelisa rolls out of the ring to the floor and shakes her head as she quickly crawls under the ring, disappearing by the time Cara makes her way over and follows her out to the floor. Trelisa comes out on the other side of the ring, holding a kendo stick and crawls around, sneaking up behind Cara and cracking her on the back, the blow echoing out in the arena. Cara, for her part, makes no indication of being hurt. She just stares ahead and takes a deep breath. She swings the kendo stick again and hits Cara in back of the knee, forcing her to a knee and then cracks her in the back of the head, this time seeming to stun Cara a bit. Trelisa hops onto the apron, then to the top turnbuckle, showing remarkable agility and leaps off. Only for Cara to catch her and throw her into the barricades with an overhead belly to back suplex style throw, the move causing Trelisa to cry out as she's thrown and the crowd to let out a "oh" sound as she is thrown into the barricades. Ben Price, oh my god, folks. Trelisa had a good idea to try a more hit and run style attack, but she went high risk and that did, well, it did not pay off. Eddie Vega, that's an understatement. That move right there has changed my entire reckoning of the concept of crash and burn. Cara picks up the kendo stick and looks at it. She stalks Trelisa and waits for her to try to stand. Waiting until she had nearly stood, Cara swung and hits the young French fighter in the ribs, doubling her over and then cracks her on the spine with such force she breaks the kendo stick and causing Trelisa to cry out as she drops to her knees. Kara tosses the broken kendo stick into the crowd. Ben Price, Kara seems to be taking to the hardcore mentality a lot easier than I thought she would. Eddie Vega, so well we could make money off this match on porn sites. Ben Price, 1. Don't give the owners ideas. 2. I'm pretty sure we'd need to share the profits with Kara and Trey Lisa, after obtaining consent, as I'm pretty sure neither of them are looking to become porn stars. 3. Again, dude. Keep your fetishes off the air. Eddie Vega, don't kink shame. You moon-faced assassin of joy. Trey Lisa, attempting to escape, pulls herself up and jumps over the barricades. Kara follows and the two wrestlers brawl through the crowd. Trey Lisa trips up Kara with a drop toe hold that bounces Kara's face off a steel chair a fan had been sitting on a few moments earlier. Trey Lisa yells out as she grabs Kara's head and slams it face first into the chair a few more times before pulling her up, and is surprised when Kara grabs a fan's beer and throws it in her face. The pair continue brawling through the crowd and into the concession area. Fans continue to part and also cheer the two on as Trey Lisa tries a flurry of punches that Kara blocks and deflects. Kara tries to counter, but Trey Lisa slips out of the wrestling holds the woman tries until Kara finally stuns the French woman with a European uppercut. She grabs Trey Lisa and lifts her, trying for a slam, but Trey Lisa's feet find the top of a sign of a food vendor and she's able to push off as she counters Kara's move, planting the German woman on the ground with a tornado DDT, bringing cheers from the crowd for both the awesome counter and the fight both women are giving. Ben Price, this is turning into a great fight, and once more fans, the winner of this belt will challenge Mad Morales, which is added motivation for these two to give their all. Eddie Vega, gotta think Kara would love to get a shot at revenge on Mad Morales. She practically had the elite belt in her hands when swooped down and took her out, with a tornado DDT, if memory serves. Trey Lisa moves over into the pin and Ashley Beaton drops down and begins counting. 1. 2. Ben Price, Kara kicks out at 2. Eddie Vega, this fight isn't over yet, our young French warrioress is going to have to try something else. Kara lets out a sigh and makes her way over to a vendor and grabs a replica title belt, spinning around discus style and nailing Trey Lisa as she comes over to try and get back into the fight, the blow sending Trey Lisa to the ground. Pulling Trey Lisa to her feet, Kara sets up for a belly-to-belly suplex, but Trey Lisa blocks it, headbutts Kara, and then a snap-style vertical suplex sending her and Kara both onto and through the table of a t-shirt merchant. Ben Price, we've made jokes at the owner's expense here tonight, but this is threatening to actually cut into the profits of the bosses. Eddie Vega, are we really sure they care? Armand von Kraus seems to have so much money, he doesn't seem to care. Valora is getting violence, so we know she's happy, and Mr. Childress doesn't seem to be focused solely on money either. So, Ben Price, I see the point, but while he acts like he doesn't care, bad things tend to happen to people that Armand see as a waste of resources and money. Valora like violence, but she's also ruthless and understands the need to make money, because if the Fed isn't making money, her goals of taking care of the wrestlers are going to fall on deaf ears. So, yes. I imagine that, at the least, Valora and Armand are concerned with making money. Eddie Vega, well, then I guess we wait and see the numbers. Matches like this might make more money than they cost. Both Kara and Trey Lisa slowly fight to their feet and continue to brawl their way past the merch vendors and over to the food and drink vendors. Making her way over to one place, she grabs a cup of beer and again douses Trey Lisa with it. She follows this up by intercepting a bratwurst, taking a bite of it, sampling the meat and sauerkraut before giving the vendor a thumbs up. Trey Lisa knocks the bratwurst out of Kara's hand, hits her with a couple of European uppercuts and slams her face first on the counter. Kara counters with an elbow to the gut and points to a container of sauerkraut. Kara Reinhardt, sauerkraut, please. The vendor shrugs and gives her the container. Kara throws the sauerkraut in Trellis's face, causing her to scream in disgust before Kara whacks her in the head with the now emptied metal container, glancing back at the vendor. Kara Reinhardt, danky. I'll be back to pay for the mess later. Ben Price, ugh. That is a smell that is going to linger. Eddie Vega, poor Trelisa will need to spend days washing that out. Kara grabs Trelisa and leads her through the backstage area, and eventually the two come out through the curtain and make their way to the entryway. Trelisa tries to charge, gearing up for an aerial move, but Kara counters, lifting her up over her head in a military press. She presses Trelisa a few times and then tosses the young French starlet behind her, Trelisa landing face first on the metal entry ramp. Ben Price, my God. I really don't think enough people pay attention to how scary, strong and powerful this woman can be. Eddie Vega, I'm telling you, look up Amazon in the dictionary, and there's a picture of Kara Reinhardt there. I mean, they compare Cronin to Captain America, but Kara looks like the super soldier. Kara signals to the crowd that it's over by dragging her thumb across her throat. She then grabs Trelisa as Ashley Beaton comes out from the backstage area, catching up to the fighters just as Kara lifts Trelisa into the air and drives her into the entry ramp, modifying the move so that her back takes more of the impact than her head and neck. Ben Price, Dresden Driver. My God, Dresden Driver on the entry ramp. Eddie Vega, there's no way she gets up from that. Kara remains sitting and bends forward, grabbing one of Trelisa's legs and pulling it up and pinning her. Ashley Beaton drops down and makes the count. 1, 2, 3. Ding. Ding. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, by pinfall, and the #1 contender for the elite title, Kara Reinhardt. Ben Price, you heard it, folks. Kara with an emphatic win and is now set to meet up with Mad Morales for the elite championship. Eddie Vega, a match that is sure to turn up the dial on the violence meters. Ben Price, and we're going backstage again. Are we going to get an update on Johnny Sniper and the Homicide Gang? Outside the arena, an arena worker is taking out several bags of garbage. He sets the bags down and opens the dumpster when he lets out the girliest scream ever. He gets his cell phone out and dials 911. We see the bloodied and bruised form of Johnny Sniper in the dumpster. Arena worker, I need to report a body. Someone has been murdered. The scream and the shouting into the phone stirs Johnny Sniper. He stirs and sits up, looking around. Johnny Sniper, someone's been murdered? The arena worker sees Sniper alive and well, fainting dead away. Johnny starts to get out of the dumpster, cursing angrily. Johnny Sniper, someone is doing ass-kicking. Oh yeah. Ben Price. Looks like Sniper didn't come out against Mammoth and Morales. Eddie Vega, they were nicer than the boys in Vegas usually are. Ben Price, let's go ahead and get a commercial break in here, and when we come back. Eddie Williams and Greg Salazar. Hydrant. It's like Tinder, but for dogs. The show comes back, once again on the announcer's desk. Ben Price, and now, for a gatekeeper match. Can Eddie Williams get past Greg Salazar in a regular match, and work his way to face Cronin Reinhardt at Desperate Warfare in Las Vegas? Eddie Vega, well of course he can, except for that brat Abby Dresden getting in the way. Thinking she can just challenge for the Conquest title. Ben Price, she defended the Valor Championship 5 times. She gets that right. Eddie Vega, really? Ben Price, yes. And I'll point out you didn't argue when Frank Windsor did the same thing. Eddie Vega, what? No, that was. Ben Price, no it wasn't different. Anyone who successfully defends the Valor title 5 times gets a shot at any title they want in the CWF. She was even offered 4 WW titles as well. She decided to challenge for the Conquest title. Eddie Vega, but why would Eddie Williams have to go through Greg Salazar? Ben Price, well, for one, GMS is Cronin's stablemate. For second, what if Salazar wanted a shot? Eddie Vega, like he deserves it. Ben Price, not for us to decide. And we'll toss this one to Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson, the following matchup is a singles match, scheduled for one fall. The ramp starts to flood with smoke. A figure appears in the entranceway with his arms crossed. A series of fireworks go off along the top of the entrance ramp. The light adjusts back to normal. Eddie starts to walk down the ramp. Eric Wilson, introducing at this time, from Cambridge, Essex, England, weighing in at 215 pounds, Eddie Williams. He slowly and methodically makes his way toward the ring, bathing in the reaction of the fans within the arena. Eddie enters the ring standing with his arms raised and fireworks go off from the 4 turnbuckles. Walking over to the furthest turnbuckle and climbs up to the middle rope. He looks out across the crowd. As his music dies down, he waits near the corner, pacing back and forth ready for the match to start. Eddie Vega, will he be the second bastard to eventually claim Conquest Championship gold? Ben Price, well, he gets a chance to prove himself tonight as he takes on the inaugural Conquest champion. Eddie Vega, but Tetsuo Oni, the guy won, he was the inaugural champion. Ben Price, I've told you, Greg Salazar was Tetsuo Oni, the third. When he lost the Conquest title to Rob Riot at Naval Warfare, he unmasked. Now we have a new Tetsuo Oni, the young lady. Eddie Vega, it's too confusing. Why don't I remember him unmasking? Ben Price, because we were in the middle of a Pacific storm on a cruise ship, and you were puking your brains out into a bucket. Eddie Vega, hey, don't yell. Limits by Bad Omens, but covered by the band known as Cryptic Writings, starts to play. Of course, this version has GMS himself on both bass guitar and lead vocals. The Conquest Vision 3000 shows the following name in big letters, Gregory Michael Salazar, before it shifts to just 3 initials GMS. Greg Salazar steps out, wearing black BDU pants, and a vest with a Bad Company patch on the back. Eric Wilson, and next, currently hailing from the Emerald City of Seattle, Washington. He represents the stable known as Bad Company. Coming in at 6 feet 3 inches and 233 pounds. This is the Paragon Gregory Michael Salazar. GMS walks down to the ring, taking a few moments to high-five a few fans. Ben Price, I've been told it's okay to say this. Of course, GMS wasn't on our show last Warzone. That's because right before episode 6, the CWF's talent relations representative and GMS manager and wife, Callie Fortune Salazar, gave birth to a baby boy. So that's why she's not been seen at ringside for a while now, but congratulations to the happy new parents. Eddie Vega, wait, they let this guy reproduce? Ben Price, you know Callie is also HR for the main CWF employees, right? And does payroll. Eddie Vega, oh, right. Her. The redhead that used to come out with Tetsuo Oni. Yeah, she's cool, GMS climbs up the ring steps, and wipes his feet on the apron before climbing in between the top and second rope. He climbs up the corner and plays up a bit to the fans. Eric Wilson, your referee, Erica Costa Alvarez. Costa Alvarez checks both competitors, and then gives her 15-second rundown on the rules, then sounds for the bell. Ding! Ding! Williams rushes across the ring, heading right for Salazar to bring the fight to him. He delivers a running uppercut to GMS, and then floats around him, waistlock, and a German suplex. He tries to bridge it. 1. 2. GMS kicks out easily. Ben Price, already trying for a pinfall here. I guess Salazar telling Eddie Williams that he'll never be at the top of the federation has not set well with him. Eddie Vega, well, if you're right that Salazar was Tetsuo Oni before the current one, didn't he always say that his school said anyone could beat anyone on any given night? Ben Price, yeah. Eddie Vega, well, telling someone they couldn't ever be in the top spot, means that's not exactly true, huh? Ben Price, well, I have to say, maybe that's a point for you there. Eddie Vega, so is this where we can call Greg Salazar a hypocrite yet? Williams is right on it, hitting the ropes and coming off with a second rope springboard into a leg drop. But GMS moves out of the way, and Williams falls right on his tailbone. GMS comes up to his feet, doing a low spinning back kick that catches Williams in the chest. He then finishes coming up to his feet, and tries to hook on a full Nelson. Williams fights it, deadweighting where he's sitting. Ben Price, might be too early for that. GMS manages to pull him up, but can't hit the big finish, so he instead headbutts him to the back of his head a couple of times before turning it into a sit-out atomic drop, again hitting that tailbone. Eddie Vega, okay, that hurt even me from here. GMS wraps his arms around Williams' midsection and tries to turn the full Nelson into a submission. Costa Alvarez checks Williams, who shakes his head. Ben Price, not the usual submission move from Greg Salazar here. GMS wrenches it in, trying to bend Williams' head forward and pull his arms and shoulders back more until he starts to headbutt Williams a few more times. GMS then rolls, letting the leg grapevine go, and tries to roll with Williams to turn it into something else, but Williams breaks one arm free and gets an elbow back to GMS' face. This breaks the hold. Williams then scrambles to his feet at a run and springboards off with a crossbody. He hits, but GMS rolls with the impact, shoving Williams off of him, so he can't try for a pinfall. Eddie Vega, that's it, Eddie. Gotta keep on your feet. Keep hitting him. Williams again comes to his feet, this time he hits the ropes again, comes off and snaps GMS down with a DDT while he's still getting to his feet. Again, Williams tries for a pinfall. 1, 2. GMS kicks out. Williams shakes his head and glares at the referee. She holds up 2 fingers showing it was a 2 count. Williams pulls GMS to his feet, but he's still staring at the referee when GMS grabs his arm. He pulls him into a ripcord, but Williams ducks down low. GMS appears to have thought of this and didn't try for the iron fist, but instead takes Williams up and over for a gut-wrench suplex. Ben Price, Eddie Williams has Salazar scouted. That's not the first move he's anticipated here. Eddie Vega, come on, when Rob Riot showed Abby Dresden how to fight Salazar, we know he's not hard to read. GMS transitions and tries to transition, maybe looking for the gunmetal lock, but Williams manages to get a boot up and kick him back to the corner. Williams quickly comes up and runs in, hitting a corner splash with an added lariat. As Williams pulls GMS out of the corner, GMS turns the move, quickly rolling HM over into a Ganasuk clutch. Costa Alvarez is right there for the pinfall count. 1, 2. Williams manages to get a shoulder up, right where the referee can see it. GMS doesn't release the hold and instead tries to get his shoulders back down. 1, 2. Again, Williams gets a shoulder up, the other one this time. GMS tries to hold onto the hold again, but Williams finally gets a foot to the ropes. The referee starts the count for a rope break. 1, 2, 3, 4. GMS breaks the hold right before she hits 5. Williams flops down to the mat, the position having done what it was intended to do. Eddie Vega, come on ref, he held it too long. Why do that? Ben Price, not the easiest position to be in and still breathe. And he had till a 5 count. He broke it before it got there. But the damage has been done from being bent in half like that, for Eddie Williams. GMS grabs Williams and whips him to the ropes. He hesitates and then heads to the other side. He comes off with a caber kick, that Williams dodges the head strike but still takes a hit to the shoulder. Ben Price, another well-scouted move there. GMS lands a bit wonky with the move not connecting as he expected. Williams gets ready and when GMS turns around, he kicks him to the midsection. When Salazar is bent over, Williams pulls him in and sets up for a package piledriver. He does it a little rushed, but the drop is good. Williams doesn't try for a pinfall, instead he rolls to the outside apron and pulls himself to his feet before heading around to one more side over. Ben Price, what's Eddie Williams doing down? Eddie Vega, trying to win a match, what else? Williams sets up on the apron, as Salazar is coming back up to his feet a little bit in front of the corner. He pulls back and slingshots into a top rope springboard. He sails into the ring towards Salazar with a flying forearm. Salazar catches him as he lands with a huge haymaker-style elbow strike. Williams still has steam, so he hits more with a crossbody than a forearm, taking both men into the corner. Williams falls down to the mat, while Salazar collapses into a seated position in the corner. Ben Price, GMS turning that attempted flying forearm into a version of up to 11. Eddie Vega, but the collision on it, not sure who took the most damage from that. Ben Price, the laws of physics are universal. Williams manages to roll over and start to pull himself up using the ropes. GMS grabs the top rope on each side and starts to pull himself back to his feet. Williams lashes out with a kick to the midsection, and then another, and another. He pulls GMS out and double underhooks his arms. Eddie Vega, that's it, Eddie, drop him down. Before he can hit the double underhook DDT, Salazar almost gets him with a signature scorpion kick. Williams lets the butterfly go, pushing GMS away to not get kicked in the face. GMS drops into a low leg sweep. Williams stumbles, but doesn't drop down. Ben Price, I'll give it to Williams. He's keeping pace with Greg Salazar here. Eddie Vega, well, the other bastards have all wrestled him at least 3 times, each. Ben Price, each with their own perfect record. Eddie Vega, what do you mean? Ben Price, Rob Riot has scored 3 wins over Salazar in 1-1-1 competition. Windsor has 3 losses. Salazar grabs Williams and whips him into a short arm. Iron fist. This one connects. Williams staggers back to the ropes. As Williams comes off the ropes, GMS hooks him into a half Nelson, then tries to work in the full Nelson, but Williams isn't making it easy. Ben Price, could be it here. If Greg Salazar hooks in the full Nelson, he has so many moves he could go for, including the Memento Mori. Eddie Vega, well, he's gotta lock it in first. Williams wraps his arm around GMS' head, and then drops down to a seated position to deliver a stunner to get out of the attempted hold. GMS rolls out to the apron and then drops down to the outside. Ben Price and GMS takes a bit of a walkabout outside to reset. Williams gets up, looks over and sees GMS outside. He runs to the other side, bounces off and then dives through the ropes for a tope suicida. Both fall into the barricade outside. Williams looks to have just about speared the barricade, and GMS took it right to the kidneys. Both lay where they fell. Costa Alvarez starts to count everyone down outside the ring. 1, 2. Eddie Williams starts to stir. 3. GMS starts to twist to start to get up. 4. 5. Williams pushes up and then kicks GMS to the side of the head. 6. Williams hears the referee's counts. He gets one more kick for good measure. 7. Williams walks over to the apron and grabs the second rope to climb up. 8. Williams rolls in to beat the count. GMS kips up to his feet and stumbles forward to fall to the apron. 9. GMS grabs the second rope with both hands and then pulls himself up to roll under the bottom rope. Not quite a 10 count. Williams puts the feet to GMS as soon as he's inside the ropes. GMS scrambles to get away and get back up to his feet. As soon as he's to his knees, Williams hits the ropes behind him and comes off with a huge knee that hits GMS in the back of his head. Williams rolls him over quickly and goes for a pin. 1, 2. TH. Kick out. Ben Price, Salazar kicking out at the last moment there. Eddie Vega, so close. Williams slaps the mat as if reminding Costa Alvarez how to count. She shows the proper counting speed to him using her hands. As he argues, GMS comes up and hooks Williams for leg-cradled half Nelson. But instead of going for the ring toss, he lifts him up and then drops Williams down so the back of his neck lands across GMS' knee. Ben Price, and that's a new one. GMS pulls Williams back up and hooks him for a double underhook butterfly. As he starts to lift him up, the bell rings. Ding! 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 GMS just lets Williams go, and walks over to the corner shaking his head. Williams moves to start to ask the referee what happened. Costa Alvarez just puts her hand up to Williams as she is trying to talk to the timekeeper. Eric Wilson, according to timekeeper Charlotte Anderson, the time allotted for this match has expired. Therefore, by CWF rules, this is declared a time limit draw. Eddie Vega, what? That's robbery. Ben Price, what? You can't stop or argue with time here. We have to fit so many matches in. This wasn't a main event. Time expired. Eddie Vega, but that means Williams didn't beat Salazar. Ben Price, he didn't lose to him either. Eddie Vega, okay, point there. Ben Price, well, I have to say, in this case, Williams showed he could hang with Salazar. And that should mean he can at least hang with Krohn and Reinhardt. Eddie Vega, well, looks like we're ready for the other 2/3 of the current Conquest title scene. Ben Price, you're right. And here we go, folks, a matchup that should be the main event and would be if it weren't a non-title match. Abigail Dresden is getting ready to take on Cronin. Eddie Vega, these two and Eddie Williams will all be fighting for the title in Vegas, though I'm worried that the match could be Eddie versus Cronin and Abigail. Ben Price, pay-per-view aside, let's focus on tonight. This is a chance for Abigail to really send a message that she can compete with the top-tier talent. I should point out most of her losses have historically come against current or former world champs. Eddie Vega, well, like you said, tonight she could really send a message, and I have a sneaking suspicion she'll have a few surprises for us. Ben Price, wait a minute. Do you know something I don't? Eddie Vega, maybe. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is a non-title match and it's set for one fall. Introducing first. Hailing from Dresden, Germany. He stands 6 feet 8 inches tall and weighs in at 275 pounds. He is a member of Bad Company and he is the reigning CWF Conquest champion and one half of both the Dyad and Tag Team champions, Krohn and Reinhardt. The lights in the arena dim and Son by Rammstein plays over the PA, the crowd coming to their feet and cheering loudly as Cronin emerges from the backstage area, the CWF Conquest Championship belt slung over his shoulder. He holds a fist up in the air and acknowledges the crowd before making his way down the entryway at a steady, measured pace, reaching the ring and climbing up, stepping over the ropes easily. Ben Price, unusual to see the champ come out first, but since it's a non-title match, I guess it doesn't matter. Eddie Vega, and what happened to Mr. Fighting Champ? Is he afraid to risk the belt against Abigail? 'Cause I think he is. Eric Wilson is cut off by the big screen coming to life to show Esmeralda von Krauss. Esmeralda von Krauss, Cronin darling. So good to see you again. Mr. Wilson will have to forgive me butting in, but I wanted to make sure everyone was paying attention to this, particularly Valora Salinas and Rob Riot. You two little insects think you are a threat to us. Here is our next move on the chessboard. I believe it is a check too. Time for everyone to meet the newest addition to our little group. Come on out now, darling. The lights dim again and mist forms around the entryway as the musical intro for Save Me by Lacuna Coil plays over the PA, Abigail's voice mixing with the track as she seemingly comes out from the mist to a very mixed reaction of boos and cheers. Abigail ignores the crowd, seemingly lost in her song as she pauses at the top of the entryway, finally finishing her singing portion, looking to the ring where Cronin shrugs. Abigail turns her back to the ring, letting the cameras and Cronin see that the back of the black leather jacket she wears has the logo of Armand and Esmeralda's NKO. As she turns and heads towards the ring, the cameras pick up Upstart's patches on her shoulders. But Abigail walks to the ring as if bored, climbing into the ring and sitting down in the corner before gesturing to Eric Wilson to do his thing. Ben Price, holy shit. How the hell did Armand and Esmeralda get Valora and Rob Riot's daughter on their side? And what does this mean for the Upstarts? Are they allied with Armand and Esmeralda too? Is Abigail leaving them? Eddie Vega, she should. Those losers will only drag her down. Ben Price, I don't think that's true. Besides, let's not forget the upstarts are all actually friends with each other. That group isn't just an alliance of convenience. Eddie Vega, this isn't a Japanese anime, Benny boy. The power of friendship doesn't get anything done in the real world. Eric Wilson, and introducing his opponent. She hails from Swansea, Wales, United Kingdom. She stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall and weighs in at 175 pounds. She is a member of the upstarts and now representing the Vaughan Crosses. She is also the 4 wins Albion champion I. Cronin walks over and grabs the mic from Eric Wilson. Cronin Reinhardt, sorry dude, she shouldn't call herself a champ until she defends the belt. Abigail pushes herself up and walks over to Cronin. Abigail Dresden, yeah, put your belt up, hypocrite. So much for fighting champ. Cronin grins. Cronin Reinhardt, kids these days. No patience. You'll get your shot. Talk to your new friends. I have it they're the ones who booked this match as non-title. Abigail rolls her eyes. Abigail Dresden, bored now. Abigail ends the exchange by kicking Cronin square in the groin, which causes Cronin to double over and drop the belt onto the mat. Abigail then hits a DDT, dropping Cronin on the Conquest belt. The crowd boos as Abby comes up and removes her jacket, tossing it out of the ring, and Eric Wilson looks at referee Leroy Wallace. Leroy Wallace shrugs and says he'll allow it. Ben Price, what the hell? A low blow on her opponent? What's gotten into her? Eddie Vega, she did say she was going to play the villain this match. Personally, I love this new Abigail. Cronin gets to his feet and narrows his eyes at Abigail and nods. Cronin Reinhardt, playtime's over, kid. Abigail flips him off and takes a boxing stance as Leroy Wallace calls for the bell, Eric Wilson taking the Conquest belt and leaving the ring. Ding! Ding! Ben Price, you might like the new Abigail, but I sure don't. I hope her friends are able to talk some sense into her. Eddie Vega, oh come off it. Tell me this Abigail is not exactly what you expect the child of Valora Salinas and Rob Riot to be. Ben Price, well, I suppose an argument can be made for that. Eddie Vega, see? I'm right. In the ring, Cronin urges Abby to attack him and she comes in, throwing a combination of boxing punches that Cronin does not defend against but just absorbs before placing his hand on her forehead and shoving her away, knocking her to the mat. Abby gets up and catches a punch from Cronin, transitioning into a hip toss. Abigail runs and rebounds off the ropes, and as Cronin is trying to get up from the hip toss before Abigail catches him, planting him with a running bulldog. She hops up to her feet and rebounds off the ropes again, but this time runs right into a big belly-to-belly suplex from Cronin as he catches the young fighter and brings her to the mat like a sack of potatoes. Ben Price, well, Abby remains a cunning fighter. I think her hit-and-run tactics are the best bet here. Maybe you can wear Cronin down, assuming you can avoid those big suplexes from him. Eddie Vega, yeah well, I counted more offense from Abby than from Cronin that exchange. Cronin pulls Abby to her feet. She fires a few punches into his gut, but they continue to have minimal effect on him. Cronin counters with a headbutt that brings Abby to a knee and has her shaking her head, dazed. Cronin tries for a vertical suplex, but Abby sticks a leg in between his legs, blocking the attempt. Cronin tries again and again, Abby blocks. Before Cronin tries his next move, Abby stomps on his foot and fires a sharp kick to the side of Cronin's knee. She fires 2 more kicks to the exact same area, causing Cronin to grit his teeth in pain. Abigail hits Cronin with a jawbreaker and brings him to the mat with a swinging neckbreaker. Ben Price, Abigail is picking up the offense and is coming up with some good counters to the size differential. Eddie Vega, huh? It sounds like you said Cronin is getting his ass kicked, but you said it in the language of nerds. Abby looks around the ring as she gets up and then gets an idea and moves over, locking Cronin in a figure 4 leg lock. Cronin grits his teeth again but doesn't panic and counters by trying to roll over and reverse the pressure on Abby's legs. Leroy Wallace checks for submission as Cronin finally succeeds in reversing the hold. Abby cries out in surprise and reaches towards the ropes. She does not get there, but Leroy shakes his head and calls for a rope break. Ben Price, what the? Unless Abigail has the ability to pull a Ms. Marvel and stretch her body out, there's no way she got to the rope. Eddie Vega, the ref says otherwise. And Ms. Marvel. Christ, you are a nerd. Cronin shakes his head and he and Leroy trade words as Cronin breaks the hold and both he and Abby get to their feet. Abby fires off another couple of kicks to the knee she has been targeting. She then rebounds off the rope, but whatever move she was thinking of is abruptly cut off as Cronin grabs her and spins around for 3 full rotations before planting Abby on the mat with his version of the black hole slam. Ben Price, with beautiful disaster. I have to tell you, that's probably my favorite move of Cronin's. Eddie Vega, it looks impressive, yes, but does it actually hurt? I don't think so. Ben Price, we could ask Cronin to demo it on you. Eddie Vega, not gonna do it, wouldn't be prudent. Cronin moves over and makes the pin, but Leroy moves very, very slowly, trying to get into position, and after making it to the mat he begins his count. 0. 1. 2. Ben Price and Abby kicks out because it took Leroy an hour and a damn half to get into position. Eddie Vega, sounds like someone is making excuses. Cronin gets to his feet and yells at Leroy. Cronin Reinhardt, come on man. Do your damn job. Leroy Wallace, don't tell me how to do my job, focus on the damn match. Ben Price, I agree with Cronin. Leroy obviously got a bonus before the match. Eddie Vega, that is an unfounded accusation. You can't accuse the man of corruption without proof. Cronin shakes his head and turns back to the match at hand and walks right into a super kick from Abigail. She follows this up with a drop kick to the knee she has been targeting through the match and rebounds off the ropes and is knocked literally inside out as Cronin springs forward and hits her with a clothesline. Ben Price, and these two continue to give us a great match and preview of the title match waiting in Las Vegas. Eddie Vega, and he's having his hands full with Abigail. Just wait until he has to fight her and Eddie Williams. Oh, if only those two could work together. Ben Price, I don't even think Rob Riott could get those two on the same page. Abigail and Eddie Williams have both been on fire this season and have been developing a rivalry as they tear through the competition. Eddie Vega, hey, a man can dream, of Abigail Dresden and Eddie Williams knocking Cronin around the ring like pinball running through the machine. Cronin moves over to Abby and pulls her to her feet. He then hits a belly-to-belly, maintaining the hold as he picks her up and hits a second belly-to-belly. Cronin gets up and takes a moment, trying to recover from the damage done to his leg as he takes a fighting stance and waits for Abby to get to her feet. Ben Price, Abby might be talented, but those suplexes will take the fight out of her and wear her down. Eddie Vega, I'm sure she has a plan. I think Cronin is making a big mistake brushing her off and going out of his way to refer to her as kid. Abigail gets up to a knee and shakes her head, growling and slamming her fist into the mat before coming up to her feet and charging forward, letting out a yell as she closes the distance and swings her fists. The first punch connects with Cronin's liver. The second catches him in the stomach, then her left fist hits his solar plexus and she ends with a right cross to the face, a left cross to the face and a European uppercut where she lets out another roar as she hits Cronin hard enough that she draws blood and sends Cronin back a step. Cronin counters with a left-right combo of his own, but Abigail fluidly dodges and weaves through the blows and runs past him, jumping onto the ropes, and Cronin turns to face her as she spins around and hits a Trouble in Paradise-style kick after springboarding off the ropes with enough force that sends Cronin toppling onto the mat. Ben Price, holy shit. Maybe you have a point there, Eddie. Abigail once more shows off her incredible talent for her age. Eddie Vega, I'm telling you, it's scary. I'm sure Cronin is seeing multiple Abigails at the moment. Abby moves over and pins Cronin. This time, Leroy is Johnny on the spot and drops down counting quickly. 1.2. Ben Price, Cronin powers out of that one with such force that he literally threw Abigail off him. That count was a lot quicker than last time. Eddie Vega, hey, Cronin yelled at Leroy to speed the count up. Mr. Wallace gave Cronin what he wanted. Abby hits the mat with a grunt after being thrown off Cronin. Both fighters get to their feet and Abby is immediately knocked flat on her back as Cronin hits her with a European uppercut of his own. Cronin jumps up and drives his elbow into Abby. Both fighters get up to their feet. Abby sends a few sharp kicks to Cronin's knee, continuing to target that area. Cronin drops to a knee and Abby tries for another super kick. Cronin catches it and tries to counter, but Abby is a step ahead and hits him with an enziguri-style kick. Abby grabs Cronin and hits Cronin with her version of Eat Defeat, and the blow stuns Cronin, standing him up straight from the impact and staggering the big man. Ben Price, Abigail is back on offense, and this is probably a good tactic. Keep pressing the attack rather than try to defend or avoid the attack of the bigger, stronger Cronin. Eddie Vega, I love it. She's knocking the smug sense of superiority right out of him. Abigail reaches into her shorts, removing something and loading up her fist as she yells at Cronin. Abigail Dresden, get up, old man. I'm not done with you yet. Cronin growls and gets to his feet. He throws a punch which Abigail dodges and then jumps into the air, hitting Cronin with a counter-attack, the attack being an uppercut with the loaded fist that knocks Cronin flat on his back. Leroy comes over and checks on Abigail, cunningly taking whatever object she had. Leroy Wallace, she's clean. No illegal objects. Abby smirks and rebounds off the ropes. Cronin gets to a knee just in time to be hit by Abby, who lands her swan song. Ben Price, bullshit. There is no way that, 1. Abigail did not have something in her hand, and 2. That Leroy Wallace is not actively helping Abigail here. Eddie Vega, swan song. Stick a fork in him, he's donezo. Abigail moves over and wraps Cronin up in a small package-style pin, pulling Cronin's shorts to make it hard to kick out. Once more, Leroy drops right down to count. 1, 2, 3. Leroy jumps up and calls for the bell. Ding! Ding! As Eric Wilson comes into the ring, Abby takes the Conquest title and the mic from him and holds the title up to the crowd, basking in the reaction, which is now mostly boos and some cheers. Abby smirks. Abigail Dresden, man, Dad was right. You people really are simple tools that I can play like an instrument, aren't you? More booing, which causes Abby to roll her eyes. Abigail Dresden, bored now. She walks over to Cronin and drops the belt on him as she looks down at him. Abigail Dresden, enjoy the belt while you can. It's comin' home soon enough. You're obsolete, and tonight was just the start. The start of your journey to retirement and irrelevance. She walks over to Eric Wilson and presses the microphone into his chest hard enough for the sound to be picked up by the mic. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, your winner, by pinfall. Abigail Dresden. Ben Price, well, it would seem Abigail has taken Cronin's kid remarks as an insult in much the same way you've claimed they are. Eddie Vega, yeah, well, the champ has to be scared. He just lost to one of the challengers for his belt. In the ring, Abby looks up as Kara and Greg Salazar emerge from the back and head right for the ring. Abby turning and sliding out of the ring and escaping through the crowd. As the camera follows Dresden through the crowd a bit, someone else comes out from one of the side entrances. Ben Price, wait, that's Eddie Williams. He connects with a biker chain wrapped around one of his first to the temple of Abigail. Eddie stands above her, the side of her head is bleeding. Eddie Vega, what's he doing there? Ben Price, I think she just picked the wrong side to escape through. Williams was planning on doing a run-in from the crowd. The drone camera gets close enough to pick up what he's saying to her on its built-in microphone. Eddie Williams, well, I'm sorry, it looks like I interrupted your little celebration. Eddie looks at the chain around his other hand. Eddie Williams, you see, I was thinking to myself, how could I make an impact here tonight? Then I saw your little speech earlier. He starts to pace back and forth at the top of the entranceway. Eddie Williams, you see, it has become quite clear to me that you have somehow managed to weasel your way into my Conquest title shot. He squats down next to Abigail Dresden. Eddie Williams, you see, you might have managed to get yourself inserted to the title match. On the road to the PPV, it will become my goal to make sure you and Cronin are fully aware of just how dangerous I can be and how far I am willing to go to win that strap. Eddie points up to the ring where Bad Company are checking on Cronin, before he turns and walks out. The camera picks up Abby Dresden slowly getting up and checking where the bit of blood was coming out, and then glaring at Eddie as he walks out. She gets up to follow, but suddenly stops, and turns to go another direction. Ben Price, things are getting heated around here tonight. Eddie Vega, and we still have one more match tonight. Ben Price, but first, let's go to a quick commercial. Slime Energy. If you want your life to be sweet, get Slime. Endorsed by Tommy Onions. Ben Price, welcome back, and now we're in for our main event tonight. The enigmatic D has challenged Rob Riot to a match, but he didn't want his title. Eddie Vega, something about if you want me to help you, you have to show me you're still Rob Riot. I don't know what that is about. I mean, Riot has the bastards. Ben Price, who so far haven't been helping him against Von Kraus. Windsor is injured and his war dogs are making more enemies than they can count. And Williams is getting involved with Reinhardt and Riot's daughter, Abby Dresden. Eddie Vega, well, while we don't know the full details on why, let's get to how. Take it away, Eric. Eric Wilson, the following matchup is scheduled for one fall with TV time remaining. Introducing first, hailing from parts unknown. He comes in at 6 feet 1 inch and 213 pounds. This is the enigmatic Voodoo Warrior. D. As Freak by Silverchair plays over the arena's PA system, the man known as D walks out. He doesn't really play up to the CWF crowd, not yet. Walking down, he climbs up the ring steps, wipes his feet and then enters the ring. Eric Wilson, and introducing next, the 4 wins champion. Fighting out of Manchester, England. Coming in at 6 feet 3 inches and 245 pounds. This is the Riot Star, ROB Riot. I Feel You by Depeche Mode bursts through the arena PA as the entrance ramp is bathed in red and white spotlights. They arc and twist over the ramp, waiting to pick out Rob Riot. Just as the vocals kick in, Riot steps through the curtains, twirling his long black ring jacket behind him as he does. He takes a moment to soak in the crowd's response, nodding to himself as he does, before turning his attention to the ring. Raising one arm and clenching his fist in the air, Riot walks down to the ring, now oblivious to the crowd around him. He's all business. He walks around the ring once and takes his time to climb up the steps, walking halfway along the ring and wiping his feet before he steps through the ropes. Eric Wilson, your referee for this match, senior referee Scott Jones. Jones does the usual rundown for CWF referees and then calls for the bell. Ding! Ding! Riot immediately puts his hand up and waves for D to come on and bring it. D obliges, stepping into Riot's area. He tries to deliver a few punches, but Riot dodges each one. D switches up to kicks, but again Riot just steps back a few steps, avoiding the blows outright. Finally, D moves to try some knife-edge chops, but Riot instead blocks, and spins around to hit D in the back of the head with an elbow strike. Ben Price, so far it's all Rob Riot. I don't think D landed one of those. Eddie Vega, pretty one-sided so far. Riot pushes D away, getting some space between them. He shakes his head, and D again moves to deliver some strikes. Riot again blocks, dodges and parries, until D grabs his wrist and pulls him into a Japanese arm drag. While Riot is down, he turns that into an arm wringer, and then tries to lock on an armbar. Riot blocks, and blocks with a foot that pushes him off. D falls back into the ropes. As he comes off, Riot trips him up and rolls him over his shoulders, to throw him down to the mat and then locks in a hammerlock while D is face down. Ben Price, Riot moving slow and methodical here. not his usual pacing. Eddie Vega, well, looks like he has a plan here. The crowd starts to make a commotion. Ben Price, what's that? Eddie Vega, more like who is that? Both Armand and Esmeralda von Krauss walk out onto the stage area. Esmeralda is actually using a set of opera glasses as she starts to watch the action in the ring. Armand looks bored. He signals to someone who brings them both a tray with a couple glasses of what appears to be wine out, as well as some hors d'oeuvres. The attendants put out a small table for the tray, as well as a stool for Esmeralda to sit on as well. Eddie Vega, man, looks like they're set up with the best view on the house. Ben Price, but why? Eddie Vega, not sure. Riot makes note of what's going on at the top of the ramp. When he does, Dee slips out of the hammerlock and tries to reverse it. Both counter, until they're both back up on their feet. Riot pulls Dee into a headlock and then drops him down with a headlock driver. He instantly transitions back into a submission move, getting in a label lock. Scott Jones gets in to see if Dee would give up at all. Dee shades his head. Riot pulls back on the hold a bit more. Dee raises his hand like he's going to tap out. Riot seems to release just a bit, and Dee slips out of the hold and rolls away. Riot scrambles to his feet, only to be met by a lift into a back suplex. Dee kips up to his feet and hits the ropes for a springboard moonsault. He hooks Riot's leg and Jones' baseball slides for a count. 1. Riot easily gets a shoulder up, twisting his body so his hips and shoulders are skewed. Eddie Vega haven't done enough to get a quick pin on the Riot star there, Dee. Dee gets up and heads for the ropes. He comes off going for a dropkick as Riot is coming up. Riot spins on his knees to avoid the hit. He comes up and then drops an elbow across Dee's lower back. He quickly transitions to a crossface hold, locking it in pretty quickly and wrenching back with it. Ben Price, again, to a submission hold. Dee manages to stretch a leg out and hook the bottom rope. Jones calls for the break. Riot keeps the hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Riot finally breaks the hold, and lets go. Riot pulls Dee up as he stands. Dee suddenly lashes out, and breaks Riot's grip. He whips Riot to the corner turnbuckle and follows him in with a corner splash, getting some height on his leap into it. He twists, grabs Riot's head and tries to come out with a bulldog, but Riot grabs the top rope on each side and Dee slips off. Ben Price, Riot is just taking Dee to school here. Eddie Vega, well, he is the 4 wins champion for a reason. Dee turns around and heads back into the corner. Riot ducks down. Dee goes over him into the corner. He turns around. Riot turns around and gets in a couple of high European uppercuts, before Dee kicks him in the chest and then goes over him into a sunset flip. Dee tries to hold on for the count. 1, 2. Riot kicks out, and hits Dee in the forehead with a well-placed calf, not quite a kick. Dee rolls back out of striking range, which puts him precariously close to the corner. Riot quickly gets back to his feet, and rushes in with a knee strike that hits Dee, putting him between Riot's knee and the second turnbuckle. Ben Price, I'm not sure if Riot is toying with him or. Eddie Vega, I'm not sure either. But the Von Crosses seem to be enjoying the match. Riot pulls Dee out of the corner and hooks him for a suplex. He then hooks the leg and takes him over for a fisherman's suplex. He bridges it and 1, 2. Riot releases the bridge and moves to try to get behind Dee as he comes up. Riot moves in and locks in a Cobra Clutch style sleeper. Dee starts to scramble to try to get out of the hold. Riot tries to keep control. Ben Price, Riot didn't put him away with the fisherman's suplex, but is he trying to put him away with the Cobra Clutch? Dee pulls Riot towards the ropes. He grabs hold, and Jones starts to count for the rope break. 1, 2, 3, 4. Riot pulls Dee off the ropes. Ben Price, he didn't break the hold. Eddie Vega, they're not on the ropes anymore. Riot keeps the hold locked in. D looks to be starting to go out. Ben Price, it's not looking good for the Enigma here. I think D will be going out. Jones checks D's hand, and it falls the first time. He holds up one finger. He checks it a second time, and it falls. He holds up two fingers. He holds it up a third time, this time it almost falls, but then D holds it up. Ben Price, not yet. Riot then picks D up and slams him down, releasing the hold. Eddie Vega, short-lived there. Riot looks to be ready to finally end it, as he reaches down and pulls D up to his feet. He looks up towards the Von Crosses and glares at them for a short moment before he continues. Ben Price, still don't know why the Von Crosses are out here. Eddie Vega, maybe they just wanted to watch the match? Riot shakes his head and lifts D up onto his shoulders in an inverted fireman's carry. The crowd starts to murmur as something of a commotion starts up. Riot drops down and hits the Riot rack. He then slowly covers D. Scott Jones is there to make the pinfall count. 1, 2. TH. Suddenly Scott Jones is pulled from the ring. Ben Price, what the hell? Outside the ring, Abby Dresden, with blood still on the side of her face, has pulled Jones out of the ring. She says something to him, holding up a fist. She points to the rampway, and Jones is quick to nod and bail on the match. Eddie Vega, she just told Jones to leave. Ben Price, wait, what else is going on? 3 others suddenly come out from the crowd and rush the ring. As Riot gets up, Mad Morales springboards off the ropes into a tornado DDT that catches him by surprise. Lady Lana Hill and Trelisa Perot both slide into the ring, and while D is sitting up, both hit him with running knees to the head. Ben Price, Mad Morales? Trelisa Perot? Lady Lana? What is going on? Monster Mammoth climbs over the barricade and grabs a set of the ring steps. He tosses the first part over the ropes into the ring, and then lifts up the second, larger part to send it over. Eddie Vega, I'd like to know what's going on as well. The Von Crosses both seem to be very, very interested in what's going on in the ring now. Abby Dresden climbs up onto the ring apron and watches. As Trelisa Perot pulls D to his feet, she whips him to the corner, where Dresden wraps her arms around his throat from behind, and then wraps her legs around the bottom turnbuckle. Before D can even try to break the hold, Lady Lana comes in with a leap into a corner splash. She moves out of the way for Perot to also come in, but with a basement dropkick to D's knees. Ben Price, what is going on? Eddie Vega, well, now the Valor Champ and the Elite Champ, the Homicide Gang, are beating up Riot as well. Morales and Mammoth both lay their boots into Rob Riot as he's starting to work his way up to his feet. Lady Lana comes up behind him with a spear to the back of his knees that takes him down. As Lana rolls for the side of the apron, Mammoth bends down and pulls Riot into a wheelbarrow hold. He lifts, and Morales comes off the ropes into a springboard cutter. Ben Price, Lana. Lana. What are you doing? Eddie Vega, well, we know Dresden is now with the Von Crosses, and she came out first. I guess this is something new. Ben Price, but Lana? She's the CWF's mascot. She can't betray us like this. Eddie Vega, I guess she's tired of being the mascot and wants to be in Von Kraus' pocket. Lana comes up to the top turnbuckle. She comes off with a shooting star press that lands across Riot's back. Perot and Dresden continue to hold and deliver kicks and strikes on D in the corner. Mammoth signals to Morales, who then rolls Riot over and lifts one leg up. Mammoth moves the lower part of the ring steps under Riot's leg. Morales then grabs his ankle and holds Riot's leg in place, the knee right on top of the ring stair. Mammoth picks up the top half and holds it over his head. Ben Price, what are they doing? Eddie Vega, about to put someone out of commission. Ben Price, someone do something. The crowd suddenly comes alive, as someone runs out from the back. They're wearing jeans, and looks to be freshly showered, blue hair gives it away. As that person slides into the ring, comes up and then launches off the ring steps, and body blocks into the ring steps Mammoth is holding. The impact makes Mammoth drop them down, with a loud clang. Ben Price, who is that? Eddie Vega, is that Salazar? Greg Salazar ducks under a wild haymaker from Monster Mammoth, grabs the arm, and rotates to toss the much larger man over the top rope. Mammoth falls out of the ring, to the outside. Before he can move on Morales, Dresden lets D go, and heads into the ring towards him. Ben Price, it is Greg Salazar. Eddie Vega, he came out to save Rob Riot? Lana turns around as she's getting back up to her feet, to a side thrust kick that slams her back into the corner. She lets herself go to the mat and rolls out of the ring after that, holding her chest. Dresden grabs Salazar's shoulder and turns him around. The camera picks up her talking to him for a couple of seconds before they lock up. Ben Price, just what is going on? This isn't how we do things in the CWF. Dresden and Salazar trade a couple of hits before GMS spins her around and hooks her for a ring toss. He sends her up and over and into one of the corners. When she lands, she pushes her way out of the ring under the ropes. Suddenly someone else appears, grabbing Dresden around her waist and pulling her back towards the barricade. The camera cuts to Ben Price standing up, no longer watching the monitors. In the ring you can see Rob Riot kick Mad Morales in the face and then start to get up. Greg Salazar stands near him and extends his hand to pull him up. The camera drone picks up one thing. Greg Salazar, guess I'm your guardian angel after all? The shot shows Riot roll his eyes as he accepts the hand up. As soon as he's on his feet, he rushes at Mad Morales, starting to throw fists and forearms. Ben Price, what's going on over there with Dresden? Eddie Vega, that's Tetsuo Oni. Tetsuo Oni is trying to pull Dresden back to the barricade. A spot has been opened up in it. Monster Mammoth, from where he's recovering, sees this happening and he rushes in. He grabs Dresden's shoulder and tries to pull her away from Oni, until he's met by a big meaty fist to the face. Eddie Vega, and it looks like Miguel Lanza is there as well. Lanza opens the barricade more, allowing Oni to pull Dresden through. Kelia Flunot rushes over and helps Oni pull her back even more. Mammoth gets up to his feet and looks to be wanting to advance on Lanza. But someone, the other half of Pacific Rim. Aklat Flunot hands Lanza a chair and the two giants of the upstarts both stand there between Mammoth and Dresden. The camera drone doesn't get close, but on the ground behind them, Tetsuo Oni has wrapped herself around Dresden, as Kelia Flunot also grabs a chair in case it's needed. Eddie Vega, that looks like an upstart's hostage rescue, or an intervention. In the ring, Salazar grabs Perot into a full Nelson. D comes out with a kick to her midsection. Salazar lets her go and lets D take her down with a DDT. Pearl quickly rolls for the outside. Riot catches Morales with an eat defeat, and Morales also bails for the outside. But he's quickly met by someone else rushing the ring. Johnny Sniper, looking like he's been pulled out of the dumpster from earlier, but is still covered in some of the refuse from the dumpster. He hits Morales in the chest with a flying forearm that slams him back into the ring apron support. Sniper starts to rain down fists on Morales, holding his head with one hand and delivering blows with the other. Eddie Vega, and now Johnny Sniper, has entered the fray. Ben Price, hold these. Price takes off his headset and walks over to where Lana is recovering. Eddie Vega, hey, don't leave me alone here. Morales starts to get in a few shots of his own on Sniper, before Monster Mammoth suddenly pounces and shoves Sniper into the barricade. Both of the Homicide gang then start to put the boots to him. The camera quickly switches to where Ben Price is confronting Lady Lana. He appears to be trying to find out why she's in on this, and appealing to the fact that she has all the fans out there in the arena and for her singing career. She suddenly hits him with a super kick that drops him down flat on his back. Eddie Vega, wait, did she just? she just killed Benny Boy. In the ring, Salazar and Riot can be seen quickly talking, Salazar pointing up to where the upstarts have isolated Dresden out of the fight. Riot nods and pats him on the shoulder. But everything is interrupted when Armand von Kraus gets a microphone. Armand von Kraus, well, not exactly how it was planned. I must say, a couple of unexpected additions we did not account for. The camera shot shows von Kraus is glaring at both Salazar and Riot where they are standing close in the ring. Armand von Kraus, as you can see, even though the Carnival failed at every task I put them to, even I can regroup and reconfigure. The four remaining attackers, Mammoth, Morales, Perot and Lana start to all back up the rampway, keeping an eye on the various parties still around. Armand von Kraus, I don't deal in childish clown antics anymore. This is the new Carnival. A new Carnival order, if you will. While we didn't get our main objective tonight, I believe our message has been sent. Now, we will just have to live to bring the fight another day. Eddie Vega, new what? New Carnival order? Lady Lana Hill has betrayed the CWF for von Kraus. Trelissa Perot, too? The boys in the Homicide gang aren't a surprise really. The credits start to roll. Eddie Vega, okay, what do I do? We're out of time. That's Warzone Season 3 Episode 7, ladies and gentlemen. Ben is out like a broken light and it's just me here on the mic. So, tune in next time as we deal with all of this, and remember #JoinTheConquest.